Hey guys, Pieguyrulz here, back with another review of a TV show that I should have talked about a long time ago. Sam and Cat. Now the reason I put off this review is, well, there really is no reason. There's a lot of shows that just kinda slip by my radar, and the thing about Sam and Cat is that there's nothing particularly interesting about it. I went ahead and watched a few episodes, 5 to be exact, and I can pretty firmly, with 100% accuracy state, that the show is pretty meh. Yeah, there's nothing really that bad about it. Then again, there's nothing really that good about it. Here's the thing about Sam and Cat that even an infant could tell you. It's the same style of humor as iCarly, and what I'm gonna go ahead and guess is the same style of humor as Victorious as well. And heck, if you want to date it back further, it's very similar to the style of humor in Drake and Josh. This is, of course, because Dan Schneider is the creative mind behind all of these shows and many, many more, including All That, The Amanda Show, Kenan and Kel, Zoe 101 even. Like, the thing about it is, he's a funny guy and he knows how to write comedy, but he's been producing the same show over and over again. Don't get me wrong, I love Drake and Josh, I love Kenan and Kel, and All That and The Amanda Show are in a different category altogether, but the humor has not changed. It's the same jokes over and over again. As a matter of fact, I challenge you to look for jokes that are either variations or direct copies of jokes that he's used in other shows. It's really not that difficult to do. The thing about Nickelodeon is that when they're not constantly airing The Sponge, they only ever trust Dan Schneider with their live action shows. And I know there's been a few others here and there, but it just seems overwhelming how many shows he's produced for the network. Like I said, he's funny and I have a lot of respect for his comedic timing, but it's gotten old. It's strange because if you look at Drake and Josh and you look at Kenan and Kel, those shows, most episodes of those shows, ended with the characters being in complete trouble, in a complete mess, ending in a way that they are so screwed, and we never actually get to see the consequences because that's not the funny part. The funny part is the setup and then getting caught. When it comes to iCarly and Victorious and now Sam and Cat, it seems like everything goes in the right direction for all of these characters. It's like the characters have to come out on top no matter what. In one of the episodes of Sam and Cat, their favorite show is ending, so Sam goes to the studio and cons them into delivering all of the props and set dressings from the show directly to their apartment. She is essentially stealing, like, probably hundreds if not thousands of dollars of set dressing, and the show treats it as if it's the sweetest thing that Sam could ever do for Cat. It's absolutely ridiculous how much people get away with in these shows. I don't know if it's because they're girl protagonists or if it's just easier and more boring to write it this way, but I miss when the characters ended up in trouble. I miss when the characters weren't perfect and everything didn't end up perfectly for the main characters in the end. It's just flat out uninteresting. And speaking of uninteresting, what is the basic premise of Sam and Cat? Well, they're babysitters. Yeah, that's about it. Well, no, there's something else that's underlying, and I wish that this wasn't underlying and didn't seem completely out of nowhere, but for some reason, Sam and Cat are obsessed with TV. There's a lot of jokes made about classic sitcoms. For some reason, the stars of Laverne and Shirley are going to be in an upcoming episode, or perhaps that episode already aired, depending on how timely I am on this review. And hey, Jack DeSena and Kel Mitchell each appeared in an episode, so that's pretty cool. There's a lot of references and jokes made about TV shows. There's even a show within a show on the show called Salmon Cat. Like, Salmon Cat. Yeah, they make a lot of jokes about television, and it's cool, and it can be funny, but it comes out of nowhere. I get the feeling that Dan Schneider wanted to make a show about, I don't know, a show. But instead, he made a show about two admittedly charming characters from two successful franchises where they babysit. And of course, babysitting is only ever the boring, stupid, tacked-on backdrop to whatever wacky adventure they decide to get in that week. And just like the jokes coming from the previous shows, all of the same things that you hated from iCarly and Drake and Josh and probably Victorious, again, I've never seen it, are still here. Female characters being violent and hateful towards their male counterparts with absolutely no repercussion or payback? Huh, well of course, Sam's here. She's pretty much the catalyst for that horrible, horrible trope. Characters solving problems in a completely unrealistic and unprecedented way that just comes out of nowhere and makes the show seem like it takes place in this weird alternate reality where everything goes perfectly for the characters? Check. wacky situations that make absolutely no sense and seem completely unrealistic, so much so that they take you out of the show entirely? Well, let me put it this way. In the first episode, there's a scene where Sam and Cat resuscitate a guy who's fainted, and he wakes up and gives them free burgers for life at his fast food joint. It makes absolutely no sense, and as far as I can tell, it seemed like some sort of ploy to give them a local hangout as a set piece for the show, although in the episodes that I watched, they never returned to it. And last, and perhaps the most heinous of them all, the laugh track. There is a special place in the underworld where Peaches tortures you because you came up with the idea to have your show have a laugh track. Do you know what shows use laugh tracks? Awful shows use laugh tracks. Shows that feel the need to tell you when you should be laughing use laugh tracks. This isn't the 90s. We don't have actual audiences there anymore. You just have someone at an editing desk saying, that joke was pretty good, or perhaps it wasn't so good, but I want the folks at home to laugh anyway because it's been a good 5 seconds since I've played the laugh track last. Let me use the laugh track again. Oh, and let me tell the audience when they need to be impressed by having the audience go, ooh, or having them boo something they don't like because the audience is obviously incapable of coming up with their own reactions, so I gotta show it to them how they should be reacting. Ugh, I hate laugh tracks. They are the ultimate sign that the people behind the show have no faith in their show or their audience. And if you want to know something almost as stupid, it's that every episode of the show begins with a hashtag for some reason. I mean, yes, iCarly had every episode beginning with the I, but that made sense considering it was a web show on the internet. Don't get me wrong, I like it when shows have titles that all match, but for the show that it is, it makes absolutely no sense. Is it a show about Twitter? Is it a show about Facebook? Is it a show about the pound key on your telephone? No? Well, then why have your episode titles be this? Unless it's some sort of ingenious marketing idea where whenever people talk about the episodes on Twitter, they'll already be hashtagging them, so it's ingenious product marketing. Well, I think I just solved that problem, but if that is exactly the reason, then that is really dang devious. But it makes me feel really stupid when I have to talk about episodes like hashtag New Goat and hashtag The Brit Brats. Speaking of new goats, does anyone remember the Drake and Josh episode where Megan tricked them into having a sheep? No? Huh. Well, I guess they really can reuse plot lines without anyone noticing. In the end, the show is a safe bet for Nickelodeon. If you weren't sick of iCarly or Victorious by the time either of them ended, you're gonna absolutely love this show. And you really could do a lot worse when it comes to children's television. There are moments of this show that are really clever and plot lines that can be somewhat interesting, and as I said before, the characters can be sincerely charming, and there's something about the way Dan Schneider writes that's really just comforting and safe. It's a nice comfort food or guilty pleasure, I suppose. That's about all I got. Pieguyrulz out.